And this is a Freedom Fulcrum in Fishery Science. And India, as we all know, is at the 75th year of its independence. And this is a small discussion we would like to have with experts to highlight the accomplishments we have made all these years, and what are the achievements in the process we have made during this 75 years, or wherever we have failed to make achievements, and the way forward. How what are the things we need to do further to accomplish or to achieve in the areas of fisheries and aquaculture, including fisheries education. And to discuss this, we have three expert panels with us. And Dr. Pramod Kumar Pandey, he is the Director of Cold Water Fisheries, Indian Council of Agriculture Research at Bhimtal. And then Sir is, also was a Dean of Fisheries College for more than 5 years. And he has been in the teaching and research for the past 34 years. And his subject specialization being aquaculture, aquatic environment, aquatic microbiology, etc. And Dr. Shiva KP Shivakumaran, and now he's joining from Australia. He's a senior consultant, principal scientist, and senior consultant at the Center for Aquatic and Fish Ecology of Australia. And Sir has more than 25 years of professional experience in managing, consulting, research, and teaching. And he has been in touch with most of the fisheries universities in India, contributing in his guidance on international scenarios and Indian perspectives. And his expertise is fisheries resource management, population dynamics, and I understand him as a very good fisheries education expert. And Dr. A.P. Lipton, and most of us know Dr. Lipton's. Sir is an ARS scientist from Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and principal scientist in the Marine Biotechnology Division of CMFRA for many years. And subsequently, he was also working as professor and head at Division of Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Professor and head at MS University at the Rajakamala Center. And he was a guiding force not only for the center, also our fisheries college, people from Tuticorin and other centers. Sir is an expert in microbiology and mariculture. And with this small introduction, we would like to start the event. And in this program, as I have mentioned, I would like to talk about the accomplishments and the achievements and the way forward for fisheries and aquaculture sector in the country. And coming to the fisheries education, to begin with, being an education, I want to talk about the fisheries education. And we all know we have a very strong foundation. We have more than 40 fisheries colleges and fisheries institutions, and more than a dozen fisheries institutions. And all these fisheries institutions are all more than 50 to 75 years old, and contributed enormously by the experts. And we need to know a lot about the expert who have contributed enormously in these areas of fisheries, particularly on the brackish water side, inland side, and we have now the marine side. And coming to the fisheries education, as I have been telling you, these 40 fisheries colleges and the other universities have been contributing a lot to produce fisheries professional, but the numbers and the quality are not adequate. That is our understanding. So we don't produce even 1,000 graduates every year. Whereas if you look at our contemporary in agriculture, and they produce more than 40 to 45,000 students every year, and we are not even producing 1% of the agricultural graduates, mainly because we have such a long coastline and the fisheries resource potential is plenty, but we have not somehow the professionals are not produced in adequate number. That is one of the reasons why there are certain setbacks in various developmental areas. And my small understanding is like it is time we need to produce more fisheries colleges, or fisheries, not only from fisheries graduates, and we are producing only BFSC. Now it is time we have to diversify into disciplines on various aspects. For example, aquaculture engineering, taxonomy, and population dynamics. And these are the areas where we still find genetics is another area. And these are the areas we need to strengthen it, and we need to have expertise developed in these areas. And we need to have a more students need to be admitted in larger numbers in fisheries colleges. In most of the fisheries colleges in the country, still they admit only 20-30 students. The time is changing, and we have to admit on par with agriculture or veterinary, and more number of students have to be produced through these fisheries colleges and fisheries institute. Coming to the fisheries and aquaculture, I just want to highlight a little point so that the experts can talk in detail about these areas. Coming to the fisheries and aquaculture, initially our expert scientists had a kind of clear thinking, and they have got a marine science separately. They have separated brackish water, and then we have freshwater and all those stuff. Coming to the freshwater as such, the accomplishments we have made, and the species, we can talk about carps. We have contributed enormously toward this freshwater particular species carps. And but the disadvantage is also that, and we are all monospecific, monospecies. Like in freshwater, we restricted only with the carps. We have three Indian major carps, and of course we have three exotic carps. And apart from that, we do not have adequate numbers on our cupboard to promote aquaculture. Of course, we have pangasius, and we have marals, we have what do you call, Paku, and all other varieties. Of course, northeastern region, Dr. Pandey could talk about some species. They have bred many fish, but we don't blame the scientists. But the problem is somewhere there is a link not developed between scientists or the research institutes and the farming community, as it has been done effectively in the agriculture sector. Somewhere there was some problem. I want the scientists to highlight on those areas. And coming to the brackish water side, again, there was a separate institutions created, and we started doing it. And there were many species focused. For example, Vanami is one species, though it do not belong to our country. Earlier, we have been doing very well with indicus and monodon, and Vanami. Now it is almost 90% Vanami only. So everywhere the main plus point of this thing is like this Vanami farming is taken up very scientifically in our country. And of course, that sets a trend for other farmers, for example, freshwater farmers or the marine farmers, to understand many things from the shrimp culture sector, because they have been doing things very systematically. You name it a hatchery technology, or you name it as a health side, and we have plenty of product, we have plenty of expertise available. And the best achievement we have made is in shrimp aquaculture sector. India is the #1 shrimp exporters. That we can be happy about it. But the concern is like the productivity has not increased, because in terms of the productivity can be increased only by technology. Even in shrimp, the understanding is like we are producing more, not because of the high technology, high level technology we are adapting, but more area have been put into operation. We have added even Gujarat, even interior places like Uttar Pradesh, and then Punjab. All these even interior places are doing very well. Not only Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Gujarat kind of states, the interior places in the name of low saline areas. Now that is another area picking up for Vanami farming. So coming to carp, again, the productivity is a problem. Our national average is less than 3 tons. The productivity has increased enormously all over the world for fish, not less than 10 tons. They produce even 40 tons, 50 tons. It has gone like anything, even for tilapia production, whereas our production is less than 3 tons. So we need to increase this. Of course, yeah, there are certain exemptions. Like, for example, in Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal, we produce 10 to 12 tons of carbs, but not all over the state. So this is the technology gaps need to be filled up. So this is another area. As far as the marine is concerned, and our cupboard is really in a pathetic state, and we need to accept such a long coastline and such a long EEZ and plenty of resources. Dr. Siva must be talking about all these things. And but we, in spite of all the research institutions focusing on these sector, and we have not made tremendous progress here. For example, sea bass is one fish. Threadbare, we have done a lot of works the last 20, 30 years. The culture technology is available, feed, everything is available. But still, many farmers, though they are interested, the seed is not available. So as like shrimp hatcheries, whether in our country, we have a mechanism, the government must come in, help the private sector to establish many sea bass hatcheries. It is not that farmers are not interested to take up sea bass. There are, I know, hundreds of farmers are interested, but the supply is very limited. RGCA supply only 10,000 seeds, and the sea bass supplies only 5,000 to 10,000 seeds. But with this kind of supply, we cannot blame the government institution. So we need to develop the capacity in the private sector, and the government must initially, as we have done in Park and all those stuff, shrimp hatcheries were run by government initially. Similarly, for many species, for Pampano, the technology is available. And there are many more species. I think I can list almost like a dozen species for which we have technologies available. So why the technology has not reached the farmers? So what is the gap, and how this can be taken up so that we can have multiple species available for farming practices in the country, and the productivity and the overall production can be increased. And with this small introduction, and why AQUAFIN is doing this job, and I just want to say the AQUAFIN is like aquaculture technology and research foundation. After my services with the university, I have started this trust. Mainly, I found in our country we require two areas in which we are lacking. So one is the technology. The technologies are available. If it is not available, we can bring the technology. Vanami technology is not our technology. It's an imported technology. So also exotic herbs, we have brought the technology from outside. So there are plenty of such technologies, species, systems, and management practices. There are countries, they have gone well ahead of us. And even the country like Bangladesh, they are doing extremely well in this multiple species this thing. And once we are while we are restricted only with the carp and a few other species, Bangladesh have a number of freshwater fishes to produce. So the technology is one area we need to focus. How the technology can be transferred from within our institutions, from outside, easily for the farming community. That is one thing. And the second one is helping the institution to have this fisheries education in a diversified manner. Not only for fishery science, there are a number of science subjects, including management, we have to go for now. There is a demand. So instead of, for example, in Tamil Nadu, we used to get more than 10,000 applications for fisheries university. And now Annamalai University only this week has been given permission, ICR accreditation has been given. But of the 10,000, we take only hardly 200 students joining these two universities. But there is a scope. We must start doing a lot of fisheries colleges, a lot of fisheries programs. So this is one area I am constantly helping the fisheries, the other universities and the institution to start doing fisheries program like agriculture. So these are the two aspects. Apart from skilling is another area, and Dr. Pandey must be knowing, Government of India has plenty of drive funds to go for skilling. So though we have a 4 million fishermen population, and of which almost close to 1 million is active fishermen, and only 15% of the population is skilled, and that too informally skilled. So to teach them the formal skilling, we definitely required kind of BO program, certificate program. And these are the areas that AQUAFIN is planning to bridge a gap between the fish workers and the institutions and the colleges. We want to do a small contribution in this direction. Thank you so much. And I think with this small introduction, now let me call Dr. Pandey, Director, Cold Water Fisheries, to highlight and share your views, Doctor.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning to everybody. Dr. Felix, Dr. Siva, Dr. Lipton. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Felix for giving this opportunity to share my views. And when they're celebrating this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, so it's a very right time to discuss the issues that how far we have come and where we are planning to go. So it is a very right time when we have selected this topic and asked us to express. And if we see what is the present scenario, our population is growing not only in India but worldwide. Because presently, if we take the world population, it is somewhere around 6.7 billion, which is expected to grow by 9 billion 2050. And 60% of this population is going to reside either in Asia or Africa, which is deficient in food security, which is deficient in nutrition security. And when we talk about the fish, so automatically to our mind term comes nutrition security. That is one of the most important things. And when we talk about the food security, uh, fish is not only contributing directly to the food security, rather indirectly also, because large population is dependent on the fish production and excess all other related activities, so that they are earning, they are getting their employment, and then by using that money, they are even buying the vegetables and other food stuffs. So we have to go a long way if you see. And especially, I would like to concentrate in terms of India mainly, because where do we stand? We need to understand. So, if we see presently, I will like to compare it with 1950. Where did we were in the 1950? So, we were producing in 1950 0.75 million tons, and out of that, 0.5 million ton was coming from marine sector, and only 0.25 million ton was coming from the inland sector. From there, we have moved much ahead. There is no denying at all. Wherein presently we are producing somewhere around 14.2 million tons. And out of this 14.2 million tons, more than 10 million ton is coming from the inland sector. So now scenario has changed. Earlier it was major share was coming from the marine sector, but now it is coming from the inland sector. And when it comes to the marine sector, as it is rightly pointed out by Dr. Felix, that we have not done much in spite of the fact that we have such a vast coastline. We have around 2.02 million square kilometer of our EZ. So a lot could have been done, but somehow we are stagnating in terms of our production. That is somewhere around, I think, less than 4 million tons coming from the marine sector. And if we talk about the aquaculture, which has really grown well during this period, almost 8.5 million ton is coming from the aquaculture, which includes brackish water, mariculture, and of course, mainly from the freshwater aquaculture. So if we compare with the other sectors, let us say, if we see the agriculture, so what we were producing in 1950, from there we have come 6 times, while the population has grown 3 times during the same period. Because in the 1950, when our population was only 1/3, we were said that we were a country from ship to mouth. As and when ships were coming to the Kandla port and other port, bringing the wheat, etc., people were getting. So even in 1950, large number of population was starving. But now in agriculture, we have grown 6 times. If you compare in the egg production, we have grown almost 14 times. If you compare in terms of milk production, we have grown almost 10 times. But when it comes to the fish production, if you take fish as a whole, we have grown almost 18 to 19 times if you compare from 1950. And if you talk about inland sector, that how much we have grown, so that turns out to be almost 40 times during the same period. So definitely our growth is quite fast in comparison to other sector. But maybe since we started from zero, if you start from zero, it is easy to grow. But suppose you have already achieved some amount of the level, then it is hardly possible to grow so fast. And when we talk about the agriculture, now it is almost super saturated. no more horizontal expansion is possible. If at all production has to be increased, it has to be in terms of the vertical expansion only. That's not that easy. Of course, it can be done, but it's not that easy. But if we compare with agriculture, our sector, so we have tremendous scope, tremendous potentiality. The reason being, as is pointed out by Professor Sunan, Professor Felix, that we have produced only less than 3 tons. That is our average production from the ponds, earthen ponds. While many countries are there who are producing 10 tons, even 20 tons. And of course, if you talk about RAS and all, then even 400 tons, 500 tons, that's the kind of production most of the countries are achieving. So why can't we? We need to find out what are the gaps and how to fill it up. And then if you see in terms of the fish species which is being cultured, India, in terms of biodiversity, almost it is having 10% of fish biodiversity of the world. While we are dependent hardly on 10 species which we are using for the culture purpose. Even if we talk worldwide, so I think 425 species are there which are cultured. But out of that, only 22 species are there which are contributing more than 75%. And to be more precise, it is only 10 species which are contributing up to 90%. It is the 30 species which are contributing more than 50% of the world aquaculture production. We are really lagging behind, besides the fact that we have large number of fish species which can be cultured. That here is spoken that how many species we are culturing in brackish water, what is the situation of the sea broths, which is being practiced by many, but it has not reached to the farmers level. Since he was referring, I was there in Northeast India for 5.5 years almost at the College of Fisheries. So I have seen that people in Northeast India, they have preference for some other fish species. Say, for example, Pengba, Osteoboma belangari, that is one of the very important species, which is having a very good preference in states like Manipur. And you'll be surprised and shocked to know the minimum rate is rupees 600 per kg. That is fixed by government. And at times, it is selling at the rate of 1,000 and even more than that. So it means there's a huge scope of culturing that. But nothing much has been done, except that many, so not even we, College of Fisheries, Agartala, CIFA Mumbai, SIFA, many institutions are there who claims that they have bred successfully Pengba. But then what next? What much needs to be done? And what has been done? Apart from that, there is another species that is this bimaculatus, Umpak bimaculatus, that is having a very good preference and choice in the states like Tripura, where again it sells more than at least rupees 500 per kg, if not more. Then mangur is another species, and we have many mud flats, many weed choked water bodies. It can be really utilized for the culture of the mangur and Heteropneustis fossilis. And then again, in fact, in 1971, if I'm right, there was All India Coordinated Research Project on everything catfishes. And people tried, but where do we stand? From 1971, how many years has been spent? And even we are not in position to produce the seed. I was shocked to see that even the seeds of mangur, even Pangaceous, it is coming mainly from the Bangladesh, either through legal channel or sometimes even through illegal channels. So if a country like Bangladesh can produce, why can't we? We have so much expertise, we have so much, we have the largest number of institutions also who are working, largest number of the scientists who are working. But then it means we are not focusing or we are lagging somewhere. Even whatever technology has been developed, how many of that has reached to the farmers level? Large number of the technologies are not reaching to the farmers. The reason being that it means there is some gap between R&D institutions and the developmental officials and developmental institutions, like state government officials, state departments are there. There is no such mechanism where this technology can be taken. Even the scientists, those who are working with respect to the many technology, what do our scientists do? Demonstrate it in the field conditions. Automatically, farmers will be influenced, and once farmers are influenced, automatically they will adopt it. There's no need of any pressure because anything, if it is beneficial to the farmers, they will use it. It's so simple. And there is a vast scope because we have a vast water body in terms of ponds, tanks, rivers. If you reservoirs, that is 3 million hectare, and if you see the productivity of the reservoirs in the country, it is so poor that you can't say. And see, cage culture, pen culture, all these we have been talking for many, many years. But when it comes to the ground reality, hardly we see that some cages are existing, some pens are existing. It means either our technology is not perfect or there is some problem in the mechanism that it is not reaching to the farmers level. Otherwise, once we, and that is what our scientists are doing. Most of the time, they develop the technology, but then they don't look into the economics part. And unless until any technology it is economically viable, it is not likely to reach to the farmers level. So there is a huge scope. Say, for example, since I am leading presently the cold water fisheries, this institution which I am leading is in existence from 1987. And if you see it's the cold water fish production, the country, where did we stand? In fact, 10, 20 years back, the contribution from the cold water fisheries was 3%. Now it has come down to 0.3%. It means at least other warm water fish culture is increasing, our production is enhancing, but when it comes to the cold water fisheries, it means we have not done substantially well. And well before joining, I was wondering what can I do? But when I have really entered and I have seen myself the kind of potentiality even cold water is having, I was surprised and shocked to see. For example, our scientists have recently developed this recirculatory aquaculture system for the trout farming, and where they are producing almost 40 to 50 kg per square meter per year, let us say. And for the sake of understanding, if I extrapolate it, that turns out to be 400 tons of the fish per hectare per year. And it is selling minimum price is rupees 600. So that way it is worth rupees 24 crores of rupees from 1 hectare of the area. Now you can imagine 24 crore. And even if you put 14 crore as input cost, then also 10 crore rupees of the profit. So, and government is having the fund also, especially this present government, they have created especially a Ministry of Fisheries wherein they have allocated 50 crores rupees to be spent during the 5 years, which is ending in 24-25. Then how many state government departments are making use of it? Even see, sometimes even we are creating problems also. This biofloc technology, it's a wonderful technology. But then so many touts have entered, so many people have entered who are not experts, and they claim to be the expert. They are behaving like a consultant. They are misleading the farmers. Farmers are dumping their money. They are burning their hands. And then because of that, it is not really benefiting the farmers the way it should have been benefited. So what people are saying, using through biofloc, you can produce 10 times, 20 times. But it is not true. You can produce 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then you need a lot of infrastructures. You need continuous manpower. You need continuous power supply, technical manpower. So all these things has to be taken care. Disease has to be taken care. So those aspects, there is no mechanism. Even state government officials, they don't have expertise. So they need to be trained. And as it is pointed out by Dr. Felix, the number of students which we are producing, that is really challenging because considering the sector, it is too vast. It needs a lot of students, skilled manpower. A lot of schemes are there. Even Government of India is putting a lot of emphasis on skilling. So there is a huge scope. So we need to trap these young minds so that they can really benefit. And when see Government of India is talking doubling the farmers' income, I simply used to say that if you skill the people in fish culture, don't talk about doubling, even we can triple their income. That's the possible. Let the agriculture farmers have one small pond in their field wherein rainwater will be harvested. It will help in recharging of the groundwater. It will be used for irrigation purpose, and this it can be used for the fish culture, so that farmers' income also increases, and then a very good integration also happens. So those are the kind of the potentiality for which we use. We need a huge manpowers. We need to have the skilled manpowers, and in fact, whatever these manpowers are being produced in terms of, I will take, sir, one more minute because you've given 10 minutes, so I want to conclude. Uh, so we are producing these BFSC students, and in many of the state government, they are employing even zoology students, botany students, and so on. So these organizations, especially state government, must be told in a clear cut terms. We need the students who are really having the technical knowledge and skills in fisheries, so that they are only employed. Once they are employed, then only we can expect something better to happen. Otherwise, situation will remain grim. We'll keep on talking, and nothing will happen at the ground. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you, Dr. Ponde. Thank you for your nice presentation with a lot of information and data. And nice. And next, I call Dr. KP Shivakumaran.
Yep. Good morning or good afternoon. In here it's good evening. There's a good afternoon. And thanks, Professor Felix, for inviting me in this uh, workshop, and Dr. Pramod Pandey and Dr. Aaron Premnath Lipton joining this. So I'm welcome, and I'm very happy that I'm joining with this August esteemed scientist club for talking Indian fisheries. Here, the main subject I'm going to talk here is marine fisheries. The marine fisheries is Indian side is last 75 years is well developed. But in the context of any developing countries or developed countries, agriculture and fisheries, there's no unemployment. There's always underemployed. Every time 1 acre plant land, always people there, plenty of people will be working. Same fisheries also, one boat those days carrying 2 people, now 5 people are going. And those was catamaran 1, then it's 2, now similar smaller boat, there are 5 people are going. But the returns to their family, there's no difference at all. You can see the sea beach. Adjacent to the beach, there's a highway. The other side of the highway, the owner of the boats live in hi-fi houses, where the fishermen live in the beach side, still the same houses. Last 40 years, there's no change. But if you say the fixed prices have gone up, everything has gone up. But their standard of living is not gone up. Of course, their food condition is better because they all need to the food they are eating because of fish. But their standard of living has not gone up high. That means there's an income distribution, there's a problem. And the next step is the total allowable catch. How much you can catch from the sea, there should be a limit. It is not unlimited. In Australia and all, we were earlier, I was working in an institution, and our some fishing assessment was done, and we declared that fishing cannot be continued because it's already catches are coming down. So they banned the fisheries, and also they closed our research officers and paid their compensation and then sent home, because there's no need to have a scientist there because the fishery is closed down. So in this case of Indian coastal line, there's a sudden increase of fish catch due to trawling. But trawling in all over the world, it is called destructive gears. But India, that's to bring the more catch. If you ban it, there's no marine catch. So the CFRA has to bring a new assessment, how many boats they have to operate in each coast, how many people can work, and what type of gear they can use, what of the cord and mesh size and all these had to be implemented based on study. There are so many studies are there, but that is end up in our libraries and the Fisheries College libraries and the foreign library. No fishery officer will know about it. And we are educated all the fisheries officers with a 4-year degree of Bachelor of Fisheries Science. If you ask them after leaving their university, they are not read any article from any book or any magazine from CMFRA. They have not seen. That is 1970 or 1980. He may have one copy in his drawer. So something is gap is there. So it's an important play is fisheries university, fisheries colleges. Regularly, they should have a program with the scientific CMFRI and fisheries officers together. One brainstorming, information gathering, information distribution. There's in agriculture they call lab to land is successful. Hours of lab to land in aquaculture very much successful is fishermen. The people have taken more initiative than the officers. The people and the entrepreneurs have taken in more initiative in aquaculture. That's why it is developed not by the department. They followed the line and they helped them. But in the marine fisheries, nothing is happened. In the illegal fishing, everything is happening, and the person is banned in Tamil Nadu, but the officers are giving token for fuel to operate a person. So it is there something governance and management. There's some problem is there. I don't know why CMFR is not given any attention to this, because CMFR has done maximum research. Now they are going into the aquaculture only. Now assessment is coming very less, I think. I don't know. I may be wrong. But I want that CMFRI should give a mandate, or their objective should be rewritten to advise the fisheries department of every state how to manage the fisheries, marine fisheries. And fishermen should be owners of the boat. It should be it is not an entrepreneur's job that somebody coming and investing there. It's not. If that level play, it will be affecting the common fisherman. Simple example, in Sri Lanka, they started doing this one. Then World Bank told them it is not possible. And we introduced every four fishermen will have a one boat ownership. So they will share the income. So if we want to bring a big industry people to come, then that fishing rights should be auctioned. And the government should get money, and how many people can employed by the company. Like that in the Western world, they are doing it. So there's a big approach has to be done on the marine fisheries to manage. You can't increase the catch. It's only to maintain a sustainable catch. The catch can be increased if the sampler fish, not the real catch. Sampler fish catch can increase. In most of the countries, catch increase because of the fish sampler, not real catch. So we had to have a latest technology, tablet form, the bucket, the one basket, how much the tablet, how many photographs should reflect, immediately should go to the office and data should be analyzed, and how much the catch has come from this area. Like that, now their scientific advancement is very high. So we should introduce all these things to bring in the, manage the marine fishery, and real fishermen should be allowed to do a fishing in this rights. Balanced fishermen should be trained in fish processing, transport of fish, byproducts only will added value, will bring more money. So that will be the best way of doing things. And the deep sea fishing is a very, very important mothership. You can, so Government of India or Tamil Nadu Fisheries Development Corporation have a mothership, and other boats will catch and will send the catch to the mid-sea itself. They transfer the tuna. Then it can be transferred to the nearest port to export to Japan. Like that, it should be well organized. Like Empada, like that, for this marine fish and fish export. It is Empada mainly exporting is concentrating on aquaculture one, but we need a special organization to look after the marine fisheries and the catch, and also giving employment to the fishermen. And another one important is stock assessment. Our tropical stock assessment is very difficult one. So we need a highly trained people to on that. We have biologists, may not be knowing the mathematics or stats. We have statistician, doesn't know the biology. So we need a BFSC course should be divided into 4. One is BFSC, Fish Assessment and Fisheries Management, 4-year degree. Fish Aquaculture, separate 4-year degree. Fish Processing Technology, separate 4-year degree. Fish Nautical Management, Nautical Training and Fishing Gear Technology should be this one. If you have all four together, it is like a soup only. Jack of all trade, master of none, only that graduates are coming out. Even a BFSC graduate, what he can do, a BSc zoology graduate can do it. But in the gear technology, we need a real technology person. But our BFSC graduates are not fit into it at all. In any college of fishery, you see, there's a lack of staff in fish processing and fishing technology. These two, you won't find a good lecturer, even fisheries engineering. So we need that type of, this has to be divided. It's a right time after 50, 75 years, still we should not follow the old system. It should be a 5 separate degree in BFSC. One is called BFSC stock assessment, aquaculture, fish processing, gear technology and nautical science, because nautical science, man only can operate the boat, can operate the gear. So here, and the fishery engineering should be a separate one, or is a combined one. So we need separate 4 degrees on this, that ICR, I think Professor Felix and other scientists are in a senior position, they can advise and change this one. So the Fisheries College will have 100 students in 5 disciplines. If they take 40, there'll be a 200 students. So one way of increasing this, you can see the square meter of area of Fisheries College. Morning 9 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, that whole building is closed. So much of investment, there's complete closed. You can run an evening courses for kids who can study year 10 or 12 or technical course. Something this building should be utilized. Ideal and the building is closed down is a national waste. For only for a 40 student, how much money you are spending on building institutions? See, if you see as a government arts college, what will be there? Only 1,200, 4,000 students. What facility they have compared to the fisheries colleges have better facilities. So it is a high time, Professor, to you all to advise and introduce 4 courses. BFSC should be into 4 different degrees program. And it should develop our own master's program so people can more concentrate on fishing gear technology. The fishery engineers can go into big ships owners and all that. And aquaculture people can be, they will straight into aquaculture, and fishery assessment and management people can be in inland fisheries, can be in marine fisheries. And they'll be well trained in mathematics, statistics and all that. So they can easily finding it is aging of fish is aging of fish is important in everywhere, but we never study. We just write one outdated formula and write it in our thesis. And we need a really age. And there's a new technology is called otolith chemistry. Based on the otolith chemistry, where the fish is born, the same aquatic chemistry of that estuary can determine, then future we can see this fish has come from that estuary, not from here. So there's so many advanced techniques have come in the Western world. So all this to introduce, you should have a separate department, all this. Then only the information will pass on. If you have all combined together, there's no scope for the development. So in the marine fisheries, in the illegal fishing is very problematic. And in the trawling, in 1950 or 1950, Mandam, Professor Dr. Lipton will be knowing that Mandam was just a dead fishing settlement, part-time settlement town. The fisherman from Tuticorin comes off season and go back. That was the only thing. When this trawler was introduced in late 70s, and in the tsunami brought a lot of boats, now everywhere the boats are there. But there's no fishing zone areas, so they have to go to neighboring countries in the water. Where the fishing is scientifically, we banned trawling, and these people are coming and doing a trawling. So their local fishermen are not doing the trawling. But here the fish people are coming trawling because they are scientifically, we have already banned the trawl should be not there. 20 years ban. Afterward, we see the catch and we use different techniques to catch the prawn. So we developed different techniques to catch the prawn. Like that, it was a deep water gill nets or something like that. There are so many small methods are there, and that methods can be used to see that, because that's not a big, vast area to catch. It's only virgin biomass after 40 years of non-fishing area. That's why it is getting catch. After 10 years, it will be completely collapsed. So these things has to be managed. Mean we have to have a very good stock assessment. But CFRS scientists, when we talk, they say it stops within the boundary of CFRS campus. It never goes out. So to make that happen, we should arrange a big workshop between the College of Fisheries, Department of Fisheries, and CMFRI and Central Inland Fisheries to see that what we develop and what we do, how it reach the people through the government department. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Siva, highlighting in a very short period the importance of fishery resources and its management. And the most important thing is the interaction between the institutions, colleges, and then he was also talking about fisheries education. It's a time we have reached almost 40 years since we started the fisheries colleges, and the revamping of fisheries programs. So I think maybe in the next Dean's Committee and all those stuff, and these suggestions have to be go to the policymakers and the Dean's Committee so that they can bring in effective changes to help ICR to have a totally revamped syllabus for fishery science to attract more students from the country. Now I call upon Dr. Lipton, sir.
Good afternoon. So that is almost 12 o'clock. I'm very happy to meet Professor Dr. Felix, Dr. Pandeyji, and Dr. Siva. I'm very happy to meet all of you. First of all, thank you for this wonderful opportunity, Dr. Felix, this afternoon. In fact, I learned a lot through your discussions, rather. One important factor I want to tell, particularly for Dr. Siva, he told about Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute's work on stock assessment. In fact, I'm a former scientist of the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute. Though I'm not directly involved in the stock assessment programs, but I could understand they have some limitations. In the sense, they can develop, fishery biology, and then what are the stock, sizes at which the fish mature, fish biology work, and then they can say that this is a time they can be exploited. But where the advisories goes, it goes to the state government. State government has the legislation to do all the things, even the mesh size regulation or even closed fishing seasons. The CMFR has a limitation in that one. Second thing, there are other agencies like Fishery Survey of India, the EMBEDA, they are also involved. As you rightly pointed out, it is better that everybody sit together, including the state government officials, the policy decision makers, to be there to evolve suitable, management strategies, so that only the sustainable things will come out. That's a very good point. I really appreciate Dr. Siva's remark about the management of fishery resources, because I have been working on seahorses like sacred chunks for a quite long time in Mandapam Regional Center. The seahorses are discarded as trawl discards, whereas they are all banned species. And live seahorses, once upon a time, it was exported to some of the Southeast Asian countries for more than 4,000, 5,000 rupees per dried seahorses. They were exported, and they fetch a lot of price. Nowadays, of course, it is a banned item. I'm very happy about telling a few of my experiences. One, I have worked earlier in the Northeastern region. My first service was in the Northeastern region. I was working in the ICR Research Complex. When I joined the fisheries sector, I was not a fishery biology graduate at all. I was a biology graduate. Then only the fisheries colleges have developed. In 1976, I joined. So naturally, in the education sector, we have grown a lot. And unfortunately, as you rightly told, there are a lot of gaps in the education, and that has to be filled up. And I would suggest one of the important courses will be Marine Food Science program. A course on marine food science, because a lot of people are nowadays interested in packaged food, high value protein rich food. That will be one of the good areas, and that has to be evolved. Second thing about the problem in aquaculture is seed production. Nowadays, the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, I was also involved in a cage sea farming program at Kanyakumari, where we have cultivated, rather, we have made a program for fattening of lobsters. Baby lobsters, we put in the cages and fatten them, and they got very good prices. And the HTB, it is a interdisciplinary science. That is what we lack. We have a lot of specialization, but interdisciplinary, because science and technologies. The HTP cages were initially fabricated and designed by the IIT Kharagpur, because they have to have floating things and all those things. So interdisciplinary programs are very, very essential. Third thing is seed production centers. We don't have sufficient seeds at present in any sector. Say, for example, it may be sea bass or cobia or pombano, even lobsters. Lobsters, we don't have a seed production technology till now, because it's having a lot of embryonic development stages, larval development stages. We don't have a good technology for that. And another thing I want to tell is about the aquaculture or sea farming policy. Do we have a sufficient policy for the sea farming in our country? I don't think we don't have a policy for sea farming. Rather, we don't have ideas about how, where to culture the fish, which are the suitable areas for mariculture. This is not at all given. Unless these things are marked, earmarked, and policy decision about the potential sea farming sites are identified, it is very difficult to propagate the sea farming, because there will be a lot of clashes of conventional use of the marine resources, marine areas. And third thing is seaweed in marine sector is another very, very prosperous area, which has to be propagated in any condition. I think recently our Honorable Prime Minister has also talked about the sea farming in all coastal areas. So these are some of the points I wish to highlight. The time is up. I thank you for the wonderful opportunity given to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for highlighting the important areas, Doctor, and with your expertise and experience with the CMO for quite some time. Dr. Pandey, before you leave, you can say your final points on these areas, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Mainly focusing on what we have to do now. So positively, yeah. Hello. Disconnect.
So there are 2-3 things which is coming to my mind. There has to be a second point where we don't have the technology, or we have not perfected the technology. Third area is that many technologies we claim that we have developed, it needs upscaling so that it can be taken to the farmer's level. Fourth point is that skilled manpower. It has to be very specific. Okay, we develop some manpower which is capable of, say, managing the RAS, for example, or capable of managing the cage. So that kind of manpower, if we develop, so especially many of our dropouts, they can get a good job, they can get good employment, as well as the income and economy of the country, both can be enhanced. These are some 3-4 points, sir, in a given time I would like to highlight. Thank you very much, sir, for giving the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you. I think Dr. Shiva is not there. Dr. Lipton, sir, you please share your thoughts on.
One important point I wish to emphasize is we have to inculcate the habit of interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary research area in almost all fishery aspects. Because, say, for example, robotics is another area, marine robotics or unmanned this area where we have not done anything great. The NAO is there, NAOT is there, CMFRI is there. Sample collections and all those things. We are finding it very hard. Even the robotics will also help in another ways. Application of the medicines or whatever it is, and even in one case we can monitor the movement of sharks or whales or sea cows and all those things. Apart from having a visual record of all the things available. And this kind of things can be done only by transdisciplinary research, inculcating the engineering graduates or engineering section people,
Yeah.
then the computerized people, all those people in that. That is one area which I wish to highlight. Probably there should be more of interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research in fishery science.
Yeah.
That's one area which.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
uh,
Tell me. Yeah.
second area is one area which I should. This is very very interesting for me also. Marine medicines,
Mm.
which is not at all giving even importance so far. We have many of our students identify potential compounds, but the fate will be closed by the end they complete their research and go out. So we should do something like pharma industries or any other people, and to start programs on propagation of this kind of things, and extraction with drug companies.
Yeah.
That is a very important area. Marine drugs, that
Yeah.
is another area we should think of.
Yeah, as you have rightly pointed out, sir, the marine area is one of the unexploited area in the country, and we need to focus more on that. As you have pointed out, marine food science is another good area. We can have some degree programs, and then marine medicine. Of course, here and there, our scientists have been doing a lot of work.
Yes, yes.
Then another aspect is the seaweed, and many countries have started doing seaweed farming in a larger this thing. Many Southeast Asian countries, though we have many projects, central government is doing a lot of push in these areas because we have such a beautiful coastline.
Okay,
And
yes.
if not all the entire coastline, there are some pockets, and we can use effectively for seaweed farming. Semafara has Mandapam Center has done
Yes.
beautiful work 20, 30 years back, and they have identified indigenous species which cultivable potential. And of
Yes.
course, seaweed is one of the for marine medicine studies and all. Seaweed is
Yes.
another
Yes.
good area to pursue. So when we talk about utilization of sea coast, it is not only from the perspective of cage farming, but for seaweed farming is another
Another
important
area.
area which we have not touched. And the years to come, we need to focus more on that. And more area need to be brought in. So that is another aspect we need to think. The government had to think of not only the coastal states. There are other potential areas like Punjab, Chandigarh for low saline farming. Then many areas can be brought in for freshwater aquaculture. And as Dr. Pandey has pointed out, the gaps need to be filled up with can be done with effective interaction between institutes, colleges,
Yes.
and fisheries departments. And this is not impossible task. It should be done effectively by transforming the technologies to the through the fisheries department. And if the fisheries department do not have manpower, and we need to constantly talking to the state government, because the fisheries is the state subject then the state
Right.
fisheries department need to brought in. And of course now this NFDP and other organizations are working through the fisheries department, and now this can be done more effectively. And I thank all the three panelists for contributing immensely, though we could give in a very short notice. And
Yes.
I thank Dr. Lipton sir, and then Dr. Sivakumaran from Australia, and Dr. Pramod Kumar, director, for joining with us to discuss and debate on this important topic, the time of our 75th Independence Day. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you.
Wait.
ஓகே நினைக்கிறேன். இதுக்கு ஹலோ ஹலோ Fulcrum.
Hello? Hello?
எல்லாம் வேலை செய்யுது. அவர் வந்து இதான் இல்லை. அவர் கதைச்சா கேட்க உங்களுக்கு கதை கேட்டவர்.
வந்துட்டு.
இல்ல இப்ப நீங்க அவர் கதைக்கிறது கேட்கணும். கேடும் அவர் கதைக்கிறது.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
அவர் மியூட் பண்ணி இருக்கிறார் போல. அவரை அன்மியூட் பண்ண சொல்லுங்க.
Can you unmute?
I think meeting is over, sir. Dr. Shiva.
Pardon?
I think over. Meeting
Is
over.
okay? Meeting is over?
Yeah.
Meeting is over. Mine suddenly disconnected. I don't know.
That happened. No problem. Yes, sir.
So Felix is there?
Yes, sir. I am very much. No.
Okay. Very good morning to
Okay, Thambi. Thanks.
PRT. First of all, as Chairman, I welcome you all in very first meeting of this PRT. The council has assigned us the duty